Greetings all, this is Angel Shade and welcome to The Arsenal, a series of videos about individual weapons and items from different games I play. Starting off with the Call of Duty 1 grenades. Why with them? Because all of the grenades in the game share the same identical statistics. So, let us review the grenade. There are 4 grenades in the game because, well, there are 4 armies and each uses their own. The British use the Mills bomb, the Americans use the Mark II frag, the Soviets use the RGD-33, the Germans use their iconic Stielhandgranate, or steel hand grenades, or stick grenades, or potato mashers, whichever the way you want to call them. The Call of Duty 1 was the first to actually utilize the grenades to the amount it did, so tactically speaking, grenades are especially important in multiplayer. In single player, you can pretty much throw them all over the place and you will get kills because the computer-controlled enemy doesn't really realize that the grenade is under his feet even when he's blown up. But sometimes they will register that the grenade is near them and then they will try to throw them back at you, which can be amusing to see. As I mentioned, all grenades in Call of Duty 1 share the identical statistics. So, damage-wise, you get 250 damage maximum and 10 damage minimum in single player, and for multiplayer it's decreased a bit, so you get 120 damage maximum and a 5 damage minimum. But you can also deal 50 damage from the melee, because you can select grenades and not just throw them outright, you can use them as a melee weapon. A maximum ammo differs from later Call of Duty titles. You get 10 grenades in single player, which you can vary because you start with your own country grenade and you can always pick up more grenades, which are usually the German grenades in the field, up to the count of 10. But in multiplayer it's different, it depends on which weapon you choose. So in multiplayer, if you are playing as a sniper, you get 1 grenade. For submachine guns and light machine guns, you get 2 grenades, and if you're using a bolt-action rifle, or M1 Garand in American case, you get 3. The radius of the blast is 350 inches, which comes to 8.9 meters. That sounds a lot, but it really isn't. 10 meters radius, well, only like 2 or 3 meters are deadly. Further out they get you in the blast radius, the less damage you get. From 7 meters onwards, you will get 5 damage minimum, and that's about it. The fuse runs 5 seconds, and in Call of Duty 1 you cannot cook grenades, which means that the grenade will not count down if it's in your hand. It only starts counting down when you throw it, which means you can carry it and throw it at your leisure. It also means that you can't time it, which means you have to throw it in the air, and which is the only way it'll explode when it lands. This is something that was used fairly often in multiplayer. You throw the grenade in the air and hope that when it's gonna land next to somebody and blow him up. Usage of the grenade is simple. You push the trigger and you pull the pin. You release the trigger and you throw the grenade. The grenade flies, 5 seconds later it blows up. It also violently blows up anyone that's standing next to it. It also damages those a bit further out if they're not standing behind something. That's the only way to protect yourself from the grenade blast. You stand behind something because the blast will not go through walls. The radius is decent, so just jumping away from the grenade will not save you from damage. It will minimize the damage, however, so if there's nothing to hide behind, jump away. Laying down will not help. There is a common misconception that the frag grenades in Call of Duty 1 are actually fragment, but they don't. It's just a radius blast, and if you're inside the radius you suffer damage, so laying down will not do anything for you. There is also a common misconception that the stick grenades in the game fly further than the normal pineapple types, which is true in real life, not in the game. In the game they fly the same distance. They might seem that it's a bit easier to use the stick grenades because of the flying animation, but that's just a visual illusion. It's not true. They all have equal, identical characteristics, not only from the standpoint of the statistics, but from the standpoints of their characteristics in flight and blast. Also, if you notice that the German stick grenade is not actually a fragmentation grenade, it's a crack grenade or offensive grenade, which is the grenade you throw in front of yourself and you don't have to worry about shrapnel coming back and hitting you in the face. It kills with concussion blasts. The other 3 are fragmentation grenades, but As I said, they don't actually fragment, it's just a radius blast. If you're inside the radius, you suffer damage, easy as that. In multiplayer, you really need to be careful where you throw the grenade, because while team damage can be turned off, for most part it isn't, and you don't want to kill your own teammates, because on most servers this will result in you being kicked out for team killing. So be careful with that. That's all there is to say about the Call of Duty 1 grenades. See you in the next video. Play nice and have fun!